Hello and welcome back to my craft room. I have just finished making my first creation out of the January Oo-er Wot's in the box, which was sent to me by my friend Johnny, Just Johnny Creations here on YouTube. We sent each other a mystery craft box. I will link to Johnny's channel below. But yeah, so I finished my first one. There was so much in the box that I couldn't make at least one more thing. But this is probably going to be my main one. So the prompt that Johnny gave me was Flamboyant, and the box was just for, I will also link to the unboxing so you can see everything I had to play with. Yeah, it was just full of inspiration, like weird, wonderful, wacky bits and bobs, and lots of really useful things. Fimo clay, lots of clay tools which I will use for years to come. So would you like to see what I made? She's certainly flamboyant. I'm not quite sure how best to show you. Now I don't have a name for her yet. She needs a drag queen name. I wonder if it's easier to show you on the desk. She was going to be a puppet, I think it's probably easier to show you on the desk. Hang on. She was going to be a puppet, but it didn't really work out. It's really quite difficult to what I'll do is I'll take some photos as well. I think that's probably going to be the best thing. I had a bit of a job put the false eyelashes on, but it was worth the effort. So this used all 3 packs of the Fimo clay that Johnny put in the box, and a lot of the other bits and bobs that he put. The only thing I think I've added is I cut up a false eyelash. I used some felt-in wool to make the hair, and these beads and that. Other than that, everything was in the box. Johnny's only rule, apart from the prompt word being flamboyant, what I've done is I've propped her up on a there we go. The only rule that he gave me was that I was supposed to use this owl pendant, and I did think about, and I might still do it, making her like a tiara, like she's just won RuPaul's Drag Race and she's been given a tiara, so I could do that. I might still do, but I did use the chain that the pendant was on, so in a way I used it. I toyed with it being here, but in the end I just didn't. Yeah, I think maybe I will make her a tiara. So that's how she turned out. So that's what I made from the box that Johnny sent me, and this is what I made from a replica of the box that I sent to Johnny. I will link to Johnny's unboxing video. Now I've shown you what I ended up with, I'm going to show you how I made it. It was so much fun. It was so much fun. It's really got me going using clay again. So that's great. Yeah. Okay. And I will pop some photos on at the end, which will show you a bit better what she looks like, because it's not really coming across very well on the camera. Okay. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoy. Hello and welcome back to my craft room. It's time to start working on my Oo-er Wot's in the box. So this is a little mini collaboration I'm doing with my friend Just Johnny Creations here on YouTube. I will link to his channel below. Johnny's box was full, that he sent me was absolutely stuffed with weirdness and wonderful, fabulous, colourful bits and pieces to inspire me, as well as lots of really useful tools and some clay and things. And one of the things Johnny specialises in is art dolls made of polymer clay. So I've been watching some of his videos back again this morning to get an idea of how to make armatures and things. Let me show you what I've got in mind. So here is the stuff that Johnny sent me. There is, I put all of the kind of decorative bits and bobs in here. The one piece that he said I must use, I think this is still going to be tricky, but I think I know what I'm going to do, is this. And I think this is going to end up working in as part of my art doll's costume. Challenge word that he sent me, the prompt that he sent me, was flamboyant, just the word flamboyant. And my goodness me, all the colourful bits and bobs are definitely flamboyant. And then there are all these things. So there's these 3 packs of soft Fimo. I've never used a soft before. I'm really looking forward to trying that because I always used to find it quite hard work to soften it, to kind of condition it, and my grip strength isn't as good as it used to be, so that's a real bonus that it's a soft kind. And look at all these. He sent me the armature wire as well, some things to make texture and what have you, some mica powders and glitter, and all of these tools for working the clay, and even a pair of wire cutters for the armature wire. So I've got so much to play with there. It's a very generous box. Here are the sketches I've been making. I've got this idea of, I haven't got a kind of Caucasian skin tone in here, but I did think it would be quite fun to try and make a skin tone, a darker skin tone, using a mixture of these colours. So I'm going to be trying to do that. I'm going to work quite small so that I've got enough. I have got some Sculpey clay I could use, but I'd rather try and use what's in the box. I don't mind adding a few bits and pieces on my stash, but I feel like if I start going into Sculpey, that's kind of cheating. But I'm really hoping it gets me going using the Sculpey that I've had for ages and keep meaning to break into. So I've been watching Johnny's tutorials, and they're really good. They tell you how he takes his sketch and makes an armature from it and everything, and then what he usually does is add the heads and feet and hands, wraps the body with wadding and things, puts clothes and things on the body, so it ends up being posable. The trouble is I want the body to be not fully dressed. I want it to look a little bit like a really flamboyant, kind of like a burlesque dancer. So I can't really do the sort of, I want to shape that in the clay, and I want her to have bare arms and stockinged legs and things. So I can't do it quite like Johnny shows. And I've been sat here for about an hour sketching these things out, trying to work through in my head how I can make it work, and I've just decided I'm going to have to jump in and just have a go. Worst that can happen is I'll waste some clay and have to get some more. I thought about trying to make I'd love to make a puppet, because one of the things that I've got in here somewhere, it must be in this one, is these lolly sticks. So I mean, I could use them to make the cross piece. Actually, usually with a puppet you have a smaller one there. I think this one would work the legs, this one would work the arms, and this one would work the head, something like that. But anyway, I could do that, or I could just make it kind of like a puppet but made to just stand on a stand. I've got to think about how and where I'm going to store it afterwards as well. I've also got to bear in mind that after I've shaped the Fimo, I've got to bake it. I kind of need a flat surface that will stand up for baking. If I've shaped this piece, for example, got this nice bum shape here and then turned it, laid it down on its bum to bake, it would go flat while it's baking. So I've got to bear all that in mind. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I think a ball jointed doll is possible, but perhaps for my first attempt it's a bit over ambitious. So I think I'm going to kind of make sure that I'm going to articulate her, but make sure that each of these pieces has a flat base to stand on, so like there, and they're all quite small. They'll be quite small, so they're not going to be so inclined to fall over. Each of them will have a flat surface to stand on while baking. I can shape the Fimo. I've got a little mini rotary drill, like a Dremel type thing. I can drill and shape the clay afterwards to an extent. I'd be quite interested to try making ball joints, like having something like that swivels inside and then strung together with elastic. I just think it's a bit much to attempt on this first go. So I've drawn her kind of in. I haven't bothered drawing the head because I think I'll just make that up as I go along. I'm more worried about the body, but that might be a mistake. We'll soon find out. I'd like to make it so that the legs can lift up, and obviously if there's a flat base here, the legs won't be able to lift up. So I think that will have to be the flat surface for this bum piece, and the bottom of that will have to shape in like this. So that's the tummy there, that's the bum, and then a bead between where it articulates with the leg. It's either that, or I just make it a static figurine. So I think what I'm going to do is start trying to make the pieces. I'll still use the armature wire to give me a base to work on. Johnny suggests using foil and wadding and things to pad it out a bit and save the clay. I'll do all that and bake them in the oven. If I can't make a way to articulate them together like this, it won't be too late to still kind of put them all together and make a static figurine. I think I could still use the pieces to do that. So that's what I'm going to do. I do want her to have this great big flamboyant smile, and I think I will use another one of Johnny's tips is to use pan pastels and mica powder and things to colour the clay before you fire it, so I can give her some kind of, you know, glamorous makeup and stuff. One thing I must remember to do is before I bake the head, I could drill afterwards, but it'd be easy to do it before I bake, is to make lots of holes that I can then set hair into. So I could use some, I've got some felting wool I could use as the base for the hair. I've also got these feathers. I was going to do a bird as well, so I'm kind of keeping hold of this, thinking this might still be a bird's tail, but I might decide that I want to use these feathers for her hair as well. But I think a lot of these bits and pieces of ribbon and net and things could all be set into the scalp and become part of her hair as well. Quite excited to get on with this. This piece, this could become the edging around her. She's got a kind of a basque on, I think. Okay, so that's the picture I've got in my head. I'm going to start filming now and start having a fiddle with this. And the first one of the first things I need to do is see if I can mix that skin tone with these colours, because if I can't, then that's going to change how I do things. So I'm going to do that first. Okay, so just to show you where how it's going, I'm working on this craft mat. Johnny included this in the kit, so it's a cooking liner, which is an economical way of getting basically a craft mat. It's the same thing. Sometimes you can even pick these up in the pound shops and things. So yeah. So what I started doing is I've taken about a quarter of the block of yellow clay, so that size. I haven't used all of it yet because I find it easier to work with smaller pieces. Cut that up into even smaller bits and started to work it. Then worked in about half that amount of pink and the same of black. So I've sort of kneaded them enough in my hand, but as I say, my grip strength isn't as good as it used to be. So now I've brought out the old pasta maker. This is my old pasta maker, and I didn't get on with it very well for making pasta, so it's in my craft room now, and this is a really good way of helping to condition and mix the clay. Easier if I can have it clamped like I used to have. Actually, I don't need, let's move that to one side. So I just like roll it through like that and then fold it again and roll it again. I've also got this little mini rolling pin, and Johnny put in an unsharpened pencil, just a brand new kind of white pencil, which he suggested you could use as a mini rolling pin, which is a good idea. But I might as well use my rolling pin as I've got it. That's really starting to mix it together quite nicely now. And I'm getting a pretty good darker skin tone there. I can also use the mica powder that Johnny put in and some pastels to add a bit of blush and lip colour. I can paint afterwards as well. So I'm going to keep doing this now until this is thoroughly mixed. Okay, so I've got quite happy with my skid tone that I've got there ready. I will need to condition some of the pink before I make because that's what I'm going to use to make the basque with, and some of the black ready for the stockings part of her legs. I'm going to save the armature wire that Johnny sent me for another, because I think it would be a bit of a waste to use. The way I'm going to do this, it would be a waste to use the armature wire. I will use that with my Sculpey and do another figure that I've got on my mind. So for this, Johnny also put in some matchsticks, so I'm going to use the matchsticks. And what I've done is I've just arranged the matchsticks where the limbs are going to be, and then I've taken a little bit of foil and wrapped around each one. So what I need to do is try and make each limb the same as its opposite number. So I've got sort of about the same size piece of foil on each one, and I'm just wrapping the pieces in that. I don't know if this is going to work. I've never tried it before. I have no idea what I'm doing. When Johnny wraps a ball of foil to start his heads with, he actually uses a little hammer to really compact the foil and make it really hard. And you can make it pretty solid, but it still stays very lightweight, and of course it'll be fine going in the oven with the clay around it. So what I've done is I've wrapped the pieces like that till I get roughly the shape I want. So this would be here, and then I've put some of this masking tape around it as well, and that helped to keep all that together, keep that in shape, and also I think the clay is going to stick better to that. That was another Johnny tip. So I'm going to work my way through now and prepare all of these body pieces. As I say, if I can't make it articulation in the end, if that doesn't work out, it won't be too late to go through, kind of put them together, add more clay over the top and make it a static figurine. So that's what I'm going to do now, and I'll come back when I'm ready for the next bit. Right, so now I finished creating a kind of a skeleton, I suppose, for my my flamboyant lady. I've started shaping the head, so this would be its side on, so you've got more of the skull at the back here and the face at the front here. Obviously I will shape it with the clay as well, but you know, I thought I'll give myself a good starting point. I think I might need to build up the bodies a bit more. Johnny suggests using some wadding around it as well, but I don't know if that's, I don't reckon put the wadding in the oven, so maybe that's for a different, I don't know. So I might just build up a bit more of the masking tape, because that seems to be working quite well. And because I wanted to have quite big hips and a big bum and a bit of a belly, I'm going to build this up a little bit more as well. But the limbs, I think that's probably enough. I can get a layer of clay on there now. So probably what I'll do is I'll use this clay rolled out as it is, and I'll cut an even sized piece for each, so that this forearm is going to end up the same size as this forearm, this upper arm is going to end up the same size as this upper arm, and so on. So I'm going to do the legs and the feet first, because I think the legs and the arms first, because I think they're going to be the easiest. The hands and the feet will be modelled separately afterwards. The feet will be mostly bright pink platform shoes is what I'm going for. I've got some gold glitter in the kit as well, so and then the head, what I might do with the head is do a kind of a skin over it first, bake that, and then start to add some more features on top. Yeah, then I can sort of shape the head nicely and carry on working on it without squashing the back of the head, carry on working on the features of the face. I'm hoping that I will be able to just use, like, I'll use a piece of scrap or something to just stick this neck into while it bakes in the oven. And even with the legs and arms, I might end up doing a first part and then wanting to build up some more afterwards. I'm not sure. Okay, let's cut that there. I reckon if I start with roughly even sized pieces like that, I should be able to keep the legs fairly evenly shaped. Okay, so that is almost completely wrapping it. So I'm going to cut off that extra. Oh, don't cut it on the craft mat. Gradually shape this and smooth it. It's definitely a lot more economical with the clay, because if that was a solid lump of clay, that's kind of, wow, quarter of the block. I sort of want this to be slimmer down this end and fatter at the you know, this part. I want this part to be a bit fatter. Now this is where, if I just put them on a thing like that to bake, they might end up flattening. So I kind of thought I'd make sure each piece had a flat edge that I could stand it up on. So I can do that and hope it stays stood up in the oven, so it's got like that flat edge. Don't know if that's going to work. And I'm wondering if I should just poke a hole now, ready for the joining bit later on. Let's see how that would go. So this will be the wrist end. This is a bit slimmer. Made a little hole there, ready to attach it all together later, hopefully. I've got a flat end here that I can stand it up on while it's baking. Okay, it's going to take me a little while to smooth this all out and get the shape right. Right, I'm going to work my way through and do those limbs and pad out the bodies a bit, and then I'll come back to you. Okay, I'm getting on pretty well, I think. I've got two forearms, two upper arms. I've covered the head and started to make holes for the hair to go in. And I think I'm now going to fire the head like this, and then I've put aside some pieces which will be for ears, nose, and kind of probably a bit of chin and brow line. I will need this for, maybe cheekbones. I mean, I can always mix a bit more of the colour, but to try and get exactly the same colour again might be difficult, so I'm going to keep those bits aside. And then I've got these two pieces for hands, so I just cut two same size pieces and I very roughly shaped them into a hand shape. Oh well, as near as I can get to a hand shape, imagining that the thumb is going to be here and here, so I've got left and right hand. They're sort of flat on the bottom, which isn't ideal, but and I think this is how I've seen Johnny do it. I haven't rewatched this video today, but he sort of starts with one piece and then cuts the fingers and shapes them. Doesn't use an armature inside there. Now I think he did like three fingers or something, because he's doing a fantastical creature. I would like my lady to have the right human number of fingers, so I'm going to have a go at that. But yeah, basically I will just cut the fingers, cut the shape of the fingers, and then smooth the curves with my hands. I haven't actually used any tools yet except for the pokey tool and the knife. That's given me a kind of basic hand shape, and now I'm probably going to end up adding a bit to the thumb actually. Just add a bit of this back in. I will just gradually shape these fingers, and then I'll have to go back and reshape the palm a bit. They're not going to be massively detailed or anything, but I just want to get the impression. I'd like her to have quite long fingers actually, and I want to give her nail varnish. If you wanted to make a hand out of Fimo or skull polymer clay, check out Johnny's video, because he'll show it a lot better than I'm showing it now. I shall get the tools on that and keep working at it till I've got a hand shape I'm happy with, but you can see where I'm going there. I'll come back and show you when I'm ready for the next bit. Right, I've done the best I can with this hand. It's not perfect. I had to use part of what I put aside to finish the face, I've had to use to bulk up the hand a little bit. So I'm just going to have to hope I can mix that colour well enough to finish the face. If not, it'll have to have like an all over coating, or I might be able to merge them in with paint perhaps. Yeah, we'll see. Cross that bridge when I come to it. So I'm going to put that to one side. Do the same with the other hand. I bake all of them, and while they're baking I'll start kneading the clay for these pieces. It's going all right. It's going all right. We're getting there. I've done a second hand, which isn't quite the right scale to go with the first hand. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just I think that's the best I'm going to do. I've spent a bit more time on the face, added some extra, because I decided I'm going to have to do this before it goes in the oven, because I want to add a little bit of colour with pan pastels. I can always sand into this a bit, or drill into it a bit, or add little bits to it if I want to. But I think this is kind of, I'll need to add the eyes in. And I just want to now add a little bit of colour with pan pastels before I bake the clay. So I've got these kind of skin tones, bright colours, and I've also got these two little pots. One is glitter, which I think I might end up using on the shoes, and then there's this one, which is like mica powder, I think, which I think will make nice highlights on the face. So I'm going to, this little brush was in the kit as well. It's obviously been used for mica powder before, because if I go like this it all comes off on my fingers and you can see that lovely pearly effect. Right, my camera cut out there. I'm still getting technical problems. I'm hoping the new cable I've got coming tomorrow is going to resolve the last of the technical problems. So I think that carried on recording, I don't know. So I think I'm going to use this kind of bright magenta colour because it sort of fits with the with the magenta Fimo that I've got here to use. I'm going to take a tiny bit of this, just be really careful to start with, and try just brushing that on the cheeks. Oh yeah, I quite like that, because after all the challenge word is flamboyant, so I think we'll give her a magenta lip as well. And once this is baked, I can go in and add a bit of varnish or whatever to give a bit of shine to the lips. Some of the previous mica powder's coming off there as well, but that's okay. Just makes it look a little bit more interesting. Johnny also put in these little very fancy cotton buds, which I'd never seen before, but Tom told me they're especially for little babies' ears, so you don't end up putting them in too far. Very sensible. So now I've got these colours. I think I'm just going to put a little bit of that pale blue just as an eyeshadow. There we go. I've tried to make some holes in the head, ready to take the hair later on. Can't dig in too far. I quite like that one. She's got some eyes. I might even see if I can find a way of doing eyelashes, and just want to try a tiny bit of the mica powder because this will add a real shine. Let's have some across here. Oh yes, I like that. I'm kind of thinking I might just put a little bit on what will become her shoulders as well. Can't get carried away with the mica powder now. I'm going to take these down and get them baked. I think I've still got these ones to do, but they'll be with different colour clay, so I'm curious to see how these are going to bake, and once they're baked I can feel less worried about ruining them as well. I don't know what to try and shall I try and stand this up on something? I might just risk it because it's quite a small piece. It's quite a thin layer of clay there, a lot of it is foil underneath. I think I'm going to risk baking it this way. If the worst comes to the worst and it does go flat at the back, I can just add another piece. I've still got all of the hair to add there as well, so I think I'm going to risk that. Very pleased with my progress so far. These are out the oven now. I'm really pleased with how they've come out. They feel nicer. They're lightweight, but they feel really strong. I'm really impressed with how well the pan, because I'd never tried it before, how well the pan pastels coloured even over this darker colour, and the colour's just like it's just not coming off at all. It's like magic. It just seems to embed itself into the Fimo, and it just won't move, because you can see with like where I've put the kind of mica powder on, you can see where what's left on the brush is still coming off on my hand. But there's none of that happening here. The only way there was a bit on the nose that I didn't want, and I found that with this little emery board I could just take the surface off. So, but that's the only way to make it come off. Yeah, so I found some a little pot of black beads that I'm hoping one of these will do for the eyes. I might end up wanting to add eyelids. Yes, it won't matter so much that I can't get exactly the right colour again, because the eyelids could be can have eyeshadow on anyway. So I'm going to put just the eyes in first, but I think it might look a bit weird without the eyelids. I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean obviously she's got a exaggerated proportions, and her head's quite small, going to be quite small compared to the body stuff. But I've got a lot of hair to go on it as well, mind. And I just love the way I wanted to, the way I drew it was like a smile going, like an ear to ear smile, which is what I wanted. I haven't managed to get teeth in there, but I just did the best I could with the clay, really. Could probably still paint teeth if I never wanted to. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with that so far. Still not quite sure how it's all going to go together, but I'm imagining little wire loops that I can make with my jewellery supplies. The hands, although I don't know how they turned out such different sizes when I thought I started with the same size piece of clay, but hey, it's not going to matter too much. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm particularly pleased with this one. So we've got these are the forearms, these are the upper arms rather, these are the forearms and hands. So I think, yeah, you can kind of see how it's going to go. And then I've done 2 different sizes of clay beads as well, a smaller one for the wrist joint. So that's kind of how I'm thinking it's going to go. So what I need to do now is the body and the legs. So the legs I'm going to do completely in black, as if she's got black stockings on, so I don't need to mix up colour again. And the body, she's going to be wearing a bright pink basque. The craft mat is ideal for, because you can put it in the oven and bake on it as well, so that's good. And I baked these for it said 30 minutes at 110 degrees centigrade. I think I only did 20. They're quite small pieces, so I did think, oh, some of them are going to get a second baking as well, possibly. So but anyway, it seems to have worked out fine. Let's take about, so it's half a block's worth, and condition it. The best way I'm finding to condition it is to cut it into smaller pieces first and try and warm them up a bit. And my hands are like the hands of a corpse at the moment. It's so cold here. I heard this morning there's even snow in Cornwall, where I used to live, which is a very unusual event. So I'm going to start to warm this up and just soften it and work it to the point where it will go through the pasta machine. And then I will use that to do the rest of the work for me. Okay, I'll be back in a mo. Rolled this through my pasta machine. I'm right down to now number 4 on the wheel, so it's pretty thin. But I think that will be enough. I've kept these pieces aside. I can use them for the eyelids and maybe just the very top of the body where just where she'd have a bit of décolleté. So I'm just going to wrap these. I'm hoping this will be enough. Oh, I've lost one. No, there it is. So these are the bottoms of the legs. Might end up wanting to build the calves up a bit more actually. I'm just going to wrap the clay around it and then build on more if I need to. Right, that didn't go according to it didn't go quite how I wanted it to. I think the kind of bones that I've made a bit too skinny. So what I've done is I've built up a bit more foil. I took all the clay off again, mixed in a bit more of the yellow because I just think I'm going to need more than I've got, and I've put it through the machine a few times, conditioned all of that, rolled it out thin again, and then I've built up some extra foil to give me more shape to start with, so that it doesn't use so much clay. And it looks a bit like a chicken drumstick, doesn't it? This is the shoulders and breastbone kind of, and this was to make the kind of the pelvis, if you like, or maybe it was the other way around. It doesn't really matter hugely. They're going to be 2 separate parts anyway. So I'm going to build up foil around all of those, and then some more of this masking tape, and then build the clay around them, and then I'll be back. Right, I've put a little extra piece into the mouth to give my flamboyant lady some teeth. They'll look better when I paint them white. Oh. That's quite a mouthful of teeth, but I did want her to have a big smile, so I've done that. And then I've got these 2 little pieces here I'm going to turn into ears, and then this little ball I'm going to roll into a sausage, cut it in half, because these are going to be the eyelids, so I want them roughly the same size. Roll it into a ball, and then if I roll it out like that and taper it at each end like a pointy sausage, and then roll it sort of flat, that will give me the start of an eyelid, I think. Yeah, so I need to find a couple of beads now to glue in for the eyes. I'm hoping one of these will do. If not, I might just have to just make some out of the Fimo. That'll work. These are little glass beads. They're not completely regularly shaped, so I won't probably be able to find two exactly the same, but nobody's face is symmetrical. So it looks a bit messy at the moment, but I think once it's dried up and I've got the eyelids on, I think it'll be okay. So these ears I've sort of made like a kind of like a pear shape. So I rolled another sausage, narrowed it at one end, and now I'm going to use one of these lovely tools that Johnny sent me. Just state on my hands from kneading the black clay. Oh, they look worse in real life than they do on camera actually. Let's just sort of shape this ear. I do want her to have some flamboyant earrings. So there we are. That's not a very detailed ear, but I think it will do. It will certainly give me a place to add the earrings. I think I'll give her an ear piercing here. Maybe she'll have an ear piercing in that part as well. Right, okay. There we go. So now I need to just attach this to the head. It's about the right place. Check it from all angles. Yep. And the Fimo will sort of stick to itself pretty well. So then I'll put the whole head in the oven to bake again. Well, I think I got to the stage where it's not perfect, but I'm not going to do much better, and it's going to get worse if I fiddle with it. So now I just need to try and get the other side the same. I'm also wondering if I could just manage to make a bit of an indication of a hole in there. It's a bit funny shape here, but hey, it's so small. I think that's going to be good enough. Right, so the tricky thing is going to be getting the other side enough the same to pass muster. Didn't do any kind of welding on this side. Let's just do a bit of that, make sure it stays put. By the time she's got all her lovely hair, I might need to put a really big earring to cover up the less ideal bits. Okay, she's not, I admit she's not looking very gorgeous at the moment, but she'll get there. So I'm gonna try adding my eyelid now. Now I've got to be careful of those ears. I could bake the ears and then come back again, but I'm just starting to think, oh, I'll get this baked now. I'll just put it over that beady eye, and I'm just using this tool to kind of spread the soft clay, the unbaked clay, over the hard baked clay to sort of weld them together. I think at one point I rather foolishly suggested that I might try and give her eyelashes, but I think that might be a step too far. Just thinking a little sliver of clay to make a lower eyelid might be good. Getting there. Her eyes crinkled up now, but it would be if you're smiling, wouldn't it? So I have saved another little bit of clay for an eyebrow. I've started to put a line in around the eyelid there. I started to wonder if my flamboyant lady is going to actually be a drag queen. Yeah, drag queens are flamboyant. Okay, I need to get my head over this now, see what I'm doing properly, so I'll cut back and show you when I'm ready to move on. Probably I will put these all in the oven and start work on the body part, the torso. Right, I have finished tinkering with the head, I think, so that's all ready to go back in the oven for another bake alongside the legs. And I've used foil and more masking tape to seriously pad out the body pieces, the torso pieces. So that's going to be the bum looking the right way up, and the front. This is the top. I'm going to write top on there so I don't get confused again. So she's got a little bit of a tummy and a big butt, and then this is her torso. So it's not very realistic, but I think it's quite fun, and I think the time I've got her all dressed up, she's going to look amazing. So what I need to do, oh, and I made a couple of, I just used foil to shape a couple of pairs of shoes and then put masking tape around them. So they'll just go on like instead feet at the bottom. Well, if I've got enough clay, I want these all to be pink. The shoes could be yellow. That could look quite good, I think. I've got my owl, which I was thinking of including as part of the bodice. I can't make my mind up, so I'm going to go ahead and make it without the owl, and I might have to add the owl later, or do something completely different with the owl, because I'm on a roll with this character now and I don't want to ruin it, just because I'm sure Johnny won't mind if I break the rule. Rules are made to be broken. Okay, so what I need to do now is condition this pink clay, roll it out thin. So it's going to take me quite a while to condition that clay and get these all coated. When I come back, when I get to the point of doing anything interesting again, I'll come back and show you. I've got all my pieces baked. I've used up nearly every scrap of the 3 blocks of clay except for this little piece here, the black, which is going to be plenty, I think, to create some laces for the basque that my flamboyant lady is wearing. So so this is how she's going to go together, I hope. I've made it so that what I'm hoping is her neck will fit into there. I'll probably work on the hair and stuff before I put it all together, because it's just going to be easier to be able to hold the head like that while I'm putting the hair in. So that's yeah, I'm quite, if I can make it go together like that, I shall be delighted. I've made like a clay bead that will go between the top of the basque, and so it'll sort of go like that, and so from the back. Right, so things aren't working out quite as I'd hoped. This is where I've been experimenting with using the way I thought I was going to do it, but you can see it's just too gappy. It's just not, that just doesn't look good. So that's all coming out, and instead what I've been trying is just where I've got the holes in the top of each piece, I've put some glue in. I've used this strong cotton, it's kind of a waxed cotton cord that you use instead of leather. Poking that right in, I think that will be strong enough. Threading the bead on, and then where I had that little eyelet in there, I've been using a needle file like this to make the holes a bit bigger where I need to. I can just put some more glue in and ram that cotton thread in there, so it'll end up looking sort of like that. I think what I want to do now is work on the head a little bit. I've got a paint pen. I'm really hoping that this is this is a Posca pen, it's quite a fine nib. It's acrylic paint. I'm hoping this will work on the teeth. I've also found, I had these for a puppet, took them off and kept them thinking it might come in handy, is a pair of false eyelashes. So I'm thinking I can use one of this pair of false eyelashes to make some lashes for her. It's going to be a bit fiddly, but I'm going to see if I can put lashes on. That'll probably be last after I've finished fiddling with the hair and stuff. Let's try these teeth. Let's see if this will work. Yeah, I think it's going to do it actually. There we go, big smile, just what I wanted. Just adding that little touch of fluorescent pink lipstick. Yeah, just on the bottom lip where it would catch more light. So now those holes are big enough to take little tufts of hair. So what I would do is I'll pull off a little bit of the hair, fold it in half, and sort of twist it together to make a little tuft like that. and then I'll pop a little bit of glue. Oops. Probably work. Let's work front to back. Now let's go back to front, because I'll probably get better as I go on. So I've got this little kind of twist of hair, and I'm just gonna, oh, I need to hold this right up under my nose. It's not easy doing this kind of thing so that a camera can see. I don't think you can see very well anyway. Probably. But so this is why I've got to kind of do the hair first before I put eyelashes on or anything, because I'll just be squashing what I've done. So I've just, yeah, I've got the glue in the hole, and now I'm just gradually just like pushing that wool, as much of it as I can, into the hole so that it stays put. Okay, I finished gluing the hair in. She's definitely getting a little personality now. I don't know how secure this hair is, but it's okay, because it's, I mean, it's only going to be standing there looking decorative anyway. I don't think I'd dare pull on it. I sort of held up some of the feathers, and in the end thought, no, I don't know. I might still change my mind. I might still decide I want some feathers in there, but at the moment I'm going to still keep those for something else. I will create a little tiara with this for her, with this owl, I think. What I might have to do is see if I can cut the feet off the bottom to like reduce the height a little bit. I don't know. But yeah, that'll be her tiara. This is when she's crowned. She's the winner of the series, and she's been crowned. So and then I can probably use the chain to do a lot of chains around her neck. I've found a couple of gold jump rings, the biggest ones I've got in my jewellery kit. Don't tend to use the gold colour ones much, actually. So I'm just going to put them through her ears for earrings. Gonna be fiddly. I think maybe what I'll do is put the glue on the mat and dip the eyelash into the glue. Have the longer part of the lashes towards the outside. It's a bit nerve-wracking, this is. Oh, she's definitely flamboyant. Okay, right, so I'm gonna set that to one side. Hopefully those eyelashes will stay put, and I'm gonna now work on putting all the rest of these joints together like I showed you just now. And I just want to add some lacing, so I'll probably use this same cotton thread. I could use the Fimo now, but I might just save that a little bit, because then I'd have to bake the whole thing again. So I will just cut tiny lengths of this thread and put a little bit of glue in the holes and just poke the ends in so it looks as if it's laced up. I've been working a little bit more on the body, and it's been really fiddly and really frustrating, because I don't think, I've tried and tried, I don't think I can make a strong enough attachment for this to actually work as a puppet without being always worried that it's going to fall apart. You can see kind of where I was going, but I think I've got to be realistic. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the old hot glue gun out, because you just get instant strong grab with hot glue. And I'm going to glue her together so that she looks like a puppet, but she's actually a still figurine. So I'll still use the balls at the joints. Yeah, I'm going to have to compromise here, and that will make it easier to display and things as well. I was quite pleased with how the lacing on the little bodice turned out. It was a bit fiddly, and I've got a bit of glue dotted around, but what I might do is put a bit of glitter around and stuff when she's finished, and that will help to cover that, or maybe some of the mica powder if I can find a way to make it stick on the baked clay. It might mean that I have to brush it with something first, I don't know. I'll work that out later. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull out these joints that I've done now. I just thought I'll just show you before I do that, so you can see kind of where I was going with it. And I will try another one, because I just love how kind of poseable this is. I just need to be a bit more mindful when I'm making the limbs of how everything's going to go together, and possibly even put the strings in before I bake the clay. That would have made much more sense. I wish I'd have thought of it. The string could have run all the way through. So live and learn, but this is still going to, she's still going to make a nice decorative item. So you're not an item, darling, you're not an item. I've become very fond of her. I need to give her, I really need to give her a name. Right, I finished hot gluing her together. I'm going to have to take some photos to show you, because it's quite difficult. She's quite long now. She's more than a foot long. But yeah, I think she looks quite good from all angles actually. Nothing looks sort of skew with or whatever. I think we're okay. So what we need to do now is finish off clothes and accessories and things, and then she's done. I think maybe she needs a microphone or something as well. I don't know. If there's anything interesting to show you, I'll pop back. If not, I think this video is probably long enough already. I will just come back and show you the finished lady. So here she is all done. I just took some photos for you. If anybody's got any ideas for a drag name for my flamboyant lady, please leave them in the comments below. Thanks ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks again to Johnny, Just Johnny Creations, for sending me that amazing box full of inspiration. So thanks very much for joining me today, and I'll see you again really soon. Bye.